The girl who sits beside me is beautiful. That is, if this were a heartwarming story. But her younger sister is a Yandere with a sister complex. Then it turns into a wholesome accident. If you dare make a move on my sister, I'll kill you. Is this how you usually win my sister's affection? You're so practiced at it. You're clearly a repeat offender. Having my sister isn't enough. Now you want to win me over too. Bro, I never knew you were such a playboy. I might tell my sister. Why have you been spending all your time with my sister lately? Are you tempting me to steal what belongs to my sister? So, can someone tell me, why does she keep looking at me more strangely? I understand all that. There's just one problem. I glanced at Loulan, then looked down at the ropes around me. Could you untie me first? On the way home from school, after 10 o'clock, the streetlights stretched our shadows across the ground. Most of the shops along the street had already turned off their lights. Only the signs of a few convenience stores were still glowing. Wind rushed in from the alley, stirring the fallen leaves. I need to tell you something. Don't be scared. I think someone has been following me lately. Ningbing blinked repeatedly, as if checking whether I was joking. When she saw that I looked serious, she asked curiously, when did you start feeling that way? About a month ago, around the time you and I became desk mates. Since then, at school and on my way home, I've always felt someone's eyes on me. Ningbing's delicate brows drew together. She seemed lost in thought and murmured softly, a month ago, at school and on the way home. She let out a quiet gasp. What is it? You have a clue? I need to confirm something. From now on, tell me whenever you feel that gaze. How will you confirm it? What are you doing? Before I could finish, Ningbing linked her arm through mine, then leaned her head affectionately against me. Well, how does it feel? It feels pretty good. Pervert. That isn't what I was asking. I meant, do you feel anyone watching us? Only then did the girl realize what I meant. Her face turned slightly red. She swatted me reproachfully. At that exact moment, I felt someone watching me again. I even felt that if looks could kill, I would already be full of holes like a colander. My body might not even be in one piece. That gaze feels murderous. Could one of your admirers have it in for me? Miss Bai, the campus beauty? Don't call me that. Anyway, which direction is the gaze coming from? Behind us. All right, Fang Yuan, stay right here. I'm going to buy some oranges. I stared at her, completely baffled. Ningbing released me, looked around, then walked straight toward a closed shop. Then I saw. She seemed to find something behind one of the shop's pillars. She began speaking to someone, though I couldn't tell who. Finally, she planted her hands on her hips, looking irritated. After that, Ningbing dragged someone out from behind the pillar and hauled her back to me. It was a girl slightly younger than us. They both wore their hair short, though a little longer than Ningbing's. The two girls were about the same height. I noticed that she looked quite a bit like Ningbing. Ningbing, however, seemed livelier, with a gentler presence. I gave my deskmate a questioning look. Ningbing patted the girl's shoulder. This is my younger sister, Loulan. She's one grade below us. She's probably the one who's been watching you lately. Loulan, what did I just tell you? She directed the last sentence at Loulan. Loulan pressed her lips together. Sorry for causing you trouble. It's fine. I still didn't understand what had happened, but that seemed like the right thing to say for now. It's getting late. I'll walk you both home first. I can ask Ningbing about the details at school tomorrow. The main reason was that I caught sight of Loulan from the corner of my eye. She kept her head lowered, looking miserable after her sister scolded her. So I didn't think it was a good time to press her. And so, I walked the two girls to the final intersection. It was already very late. There wasn't a single car on the road. The green light had less than 10 seconds left. Come on, come on. Ningbing stepped forward first, then dashed excitedly toward the other side of the street. I was about to follow her, when someone suddenly tugged at my shirt hem. I turned instinctively, and Loulan stepped toward me. Her evasive eyes met mine for the first time, but she looked at me as though I were a cold, lifeless object. If you make a move on my sister, I won't let you off. The light turned red. Phew. Hey, why haven't you to come over? Ningbing shouted from across the street and waved at us. Loulan clasped her hands demurely in front of her and stood obediently beside me, as if what had just happened were only my imagination. I looked at her as if I'd seen a ghost. The streetlight cast its dim, yellow glow. Loulan's expression was perfectly calm. She even brushed back her hair as though nothing had happened, then looked up and asked, "What's wrong? Why are you staring at me?" I held her gaze for several seconds, then looked across the street. Ningbing stood beside the traffic light, tilting her head at us. She seemed puzzled. She had been running ahead and hadn't seen what happened behind her. Loulan and I waited side by side for the light. We stood neither too close nor too far apart, just close enough to hear each other's voices. You seem to have misunderstood something. Is that so? It had better be. Loulan neither agreed nor disagreed. She clearly had no desire to continue the conversation. We fell silent until the red light began counting down. So, you've been watching me lately because you were worried I might hurt Ningbing? My sister was harassed by a group of scumbags not long ago, so I won't allow suspicious people near her. I know. I happened to be passing by. I said it casually to show that I understood. Bai Loulan fell silent for a moment. She turned her head and stared at my face. Feeling her gaze, I couldn't help touching my cheek. What is it? Is there something on my face? Nothing. The lights changed. We should go. Bai Loulan withdrew her gaze and walked off without another word. What a strange person, I thought to myself as I followed her. After we crossed the street, Bai Ningbing blinked repeatedly and tugged at Bai Loulan with great curiosity. What were you talking about with Fang Yuan just now? Well, nothing. The girl, calm just moments ago, suddenly became flustered. She seemed afraid to meet her sister's eyes. As she answered vaguely, then why are you so nervous? It's just because you were standing too close, sis. Is that so? You seem kind of weird. I stood beside them, cosplaying as a street light. While observing the sisters' interaction, my gaze eventually settled on Bai Loulan's face. Unlike her cold, indifferent expression moments ago, Bai Loulan became flustered and nervous in front of Bai Ningbing. That seemed more fitting for someone her age. I nodded thoughtfully. I see. I'm finally beginning to understand everything. So, she's the big sister obsessed type. I must have been too absorbed in my thoughts, because I said it aloud. What did you say? What little secret did my sister tell you just now? She seems so shy that she won't even tell me. Behind her, Bai Loulan looked at me. Her eyes held 30% nervousness, 30% pleading, and 30% panic, plus 10% of an emotion I couldn't identify. Wow. Eye chart. I never knew a person's eyes could be so complicated. I pretended to be serious and said, it really was nothing. She was only apologizing again for bothering me these past few weeks. Bai Loulan's eyes widened. Is that all what's there to be shy about? Thanks for walking us home. Let me buy you a drink. What would you like? You don't have to. No refusing. Then a Coke will do. Wait here for me. With that, Bai Ningbing ran toward the convenience store that was still open. She was as energetic as ever. Lively and adorable. That left Bai Loulan and me standing there alone. To be honest, I felt a little awkward. Why didn't you tell your sister? Do you want the truth or a lie? The truth. I thought telling her would only cause trouble. I shrugged, completely unconcerned. Bai Loulan glanced at me several times but said nothing more. We fell silent. We remained that way until Bai Ningbing returned with 3 bottles of Coke. The next day, during break, I found a chance to ask Bai Ningbing about what had piqued my curiosity the day before. What kind of person is my sister? Why are you suddenly asking? I was just curious. After all, I can't imagine anyone who would follow someone for an entire month. I think my sister is a wonderful person. Hey, let me tell you how adorable she used to be. She was always stealing my things, but whenever she heard thunder, she'd run into my arms and hug me. She was such a good girl. And also, Bai Ningbing suddenly flipped a switch and began talking nonstop. So, you're secretly obsessed with your little sister too. You two are basically a perfect sister complex combo. I only wanted to know why she was watching me. Bai Ningbing's words came to an abrupt halt. After a moment of silence, she said, actually, this is my fault. A few inappropriate images suddenly flashed through my mind. I quietly shifted my chair a little farther back. Seeing my reaction, Bai Ningbing said irritably, are you seriously backing away? Do you remember why? I asked our teacher to let me sit with you. Speaking of that, I straightened up and lost my lazy expression. Are you talking about when I rescued you last month? I still think it was nothing more than a small favor. You really don't need to take it so seriously. It was an ordinary evening last month. As usual, I was walking home, but at the final intersection, I saw several people harassing a girl. They looked slightly drunk and out of control. What kind of people do that? How can something like this still happen nowadays? Society's gone downhill, and people's morals have gone with it. I didn't think twice. I went straight in with a slick little combo. First, I seized the initiative and said I was recording everything. Then I bluffed and claimed I'd already called the police. That successfully sent them packing. Fortunately, they weren't too drunk to understand me. Otherwise, things could have ended badly. Only then did I realize the girl trembling beside me was my classmate. As a decent person with what I considered a normal moral compass, I couldn't bring myself to abandon Bai Ningbing in that state. It would have been difficult. So, for her safety, I walked her to the entrance of her neighborhood. As a result, the next day, our top-of-the-class honor student used her academic privilege. Our homeroom teacher agreed to change her seat so she could sit beside me. Don't let my sister's quiet appearance fool you. She actually cares about me a lot. That's why, after learning what happened, she became wary of anyone who appeared around me. She probably just wants to protect me. Quiet, really? I thought back to Bai Loulan's behavior the night before, but kept my opinion to myself. But why did you say it was your fault? Because I never told her that you rescued me. Otherwise, this misunderstanding probably wouldn't have happened. hand. Bai Ningbing looked at me apologetically. I waved it off to show that it was no big deal. The atmosphere grew quiet, so quiet that it became awkward. Bai Ningbing opened her mouth to say something else, but the class bell rang at that moment. She had no choice but to start listening to the lesson. She still looked conflicted. What's there to be conflicted about? We can continue after class. I thought this as I stole a few more glances at my deskmate. And just like that, Bai Ningbing spent the entire day hesitating and agonizing. I spent the day amusedly watching her expressions. Finally, she spoke when school let out. Would you like to go out with us during the holiday? Sure. Where? The tension around Ningbing's eyes and brows instantly eased. She excitedly took my hand. Really? We'll come talk it over with you tonight. Okay. Wait a second. We? Who else? As I voiced my question, a familiar scrutinizing gaze fell upon me. I turned around and saw Loulan standing at our classroom door. She stared expressionlessly at her sister holding my hand. You two seem very close, Loulan said flatly. Before I could say anything, Bai Ningbing looked like she'd been caught doing something wrong and quickly snatched her hand back. She stammered an explanation. It's not what you think. Sorry. Anyway, little sis, let's go. Ningbing pushed Loulan, who still wanted to say something, out of the classroom. For some reason, I felt exhausted. With a sigh, I followed them. The other students who had been enjoying the spectacle were left staring at one another after being discovered the night before. Loulan stopped pretending altogether. The result was that 3 of us walked home together each evening. On the way home Monday evening, Ningbing handed me a packet of pastries with seeming composure, then fled in embarrassment. But the flush on her face and the bandage on her finger said everything. Her sister had stayed up late baking cookies over the weekend before finally getting them right. She had even burned her hand. She gave me a threatening look. That left me no choice but to say they were delicious. Though they really were delicious. During break on Wednesday, Bai Ningbing and I read the same book and discussed the plot as we went. On Thursday evening, Loulan shoved a copy of the same book into my hands. That way, you won't have to squeeze in beside my sister to read it. During physical education class Friday morning, I helped Bai Ningbing, who had twisted her ankle, to the nurse's office. By lunchtime, Loulan had somehow found a crutch and placed it in her sister's hand. As she frantically checked Bai Ningbing's injury, she said mournfully, rather than having someone else support you as you walk. Isn't this more convenient, sis? She nearly burst into tears as she spoke. It was as if she were the one who had been hurt, not Bai Ningbing. After we left the nurse's office, Loulan even reluctantly told me to take extra care of Bai Ningbing for the time being. Come to think of it, does this girl have a tracking device planted on Bai Ningbing? How else could she learn everything so quickly? Those two really are close. But if someone asked whether I felt targeted, of course I wouldn't. What's wrong with a sister-obsessed younger sister caring about her older sister? If Loulan also had a Yandere streak, I might be a little worried. But she clearly doesn't. So relax. However, because of Bai Ningbing's accidental injury, our planned weekend hike had to be postponed. We originally planned to move it to the next break, but their family seemed to have other plans then, so it had to be pushed back to winter break. My deskmate was very disappointed. Before long, the weekend arrived. I sprawled on the sofa, enjoying some rare leisure. Then a dark shadow suddenly fell over me. Fang stood beside the sofa and looked down at me. Go to the supermarket for me. I lazily lifted my eyes. You really know how to act superior, sis. She raised an eyebrow. I sprang off the sofa on instinct. Sure thing. I'm leaving right now. Damn the tyranny of family ties. That was until my phone received a transfer of several $100. Then Fang generously added, you can keep the change. I'm sorry. I admit I spoke a little too loudly just now. Now that's my real sister. This time, I was genuinely happy. I walked around the mall. I quickly bought everything at the lowest prices. I returned home with a full haul. But when I reached the mall entrance, a familiar figure suddenly appeared. She was struggling to carry 2 large shopping bags filled with ingredients. The bags made her look even more petite. She even stumbled as she reached the entrance. Fortunately, she steadied herself in time and avoided falling. This coincidence felt like something that could only happen in a novel. I grumbled inwardly as I hurried over. I took one of the bags from Loulan's hands. Why are you here alone? Loulan jumped in surprise. Once she realized it was me, she finally relaxed a little. She then reached for the bag, but failed to take it back. In the end, she could only give in. Disappointed you didn't see my sister. I was already used to the way she spoke. Still, I wasn't about to make an injured person run errands. I meant, where are your parents? They're away on business. It's just my sister and me at home. I see. After leaving the supermarket, we walked side by side toward her house. Loulan barely spoke the entire way. The atmosphere quickly became awkward. This was my first time alone with her. Aside from Bai Ningbing, we seemed to have nothing to talk about. But if I brought up her sister, I always felt I might trigger some hidden plotline. She hesitated for a moment before speaking uncertainly. Fang Yuan. So after all this time, she still wasn't completely sure of my name. I looked at her. What is it? After walking a few steps, she glanced at the bag in my hand. Thank you. It was nothing. I asked about Bai Ningbing's injury. Bai Loulan told me. They had just gone to the hospital for a checkup yesterday. One more dressing change should do it. The doctor had also recommended several foods suitable for someone recovering from an injury. That was why she'd bought so many ingredients. I glanced at the soup bones in the bag. Are you going to make soup? Though mine won't taste as good as my sister's. At the mention of Bai Ningbing, she suddenly became much more talkative. My sister is good at everything. I remembered how she'd stayed up late baking cookies last time and burned her hand, but I still want to be like her. Whenever she talked about Bai Ningbing, her normally cold voice softened noticeably. I teased her with a smile. You really do love your sister. Bai Loulan pressed her lips together, but didn't deny it. Yes, I love my sister very much. Your sister loves you too. Whenever she mentions you to me, her eyes light up as well. Bai Loulan immediately looked at me. Really? I nodded. Really? Just as you worry when she gets hurt. She'd be upset if you were injured. So if you ever face a problem you can't handle, you can contact me. I lifted the bag in my hand. You don't want your sister to know. You nearly fell just now and worry her, do you? The moment the words left my mouth, I realized that sentence had sounded strange. She stopped in her tracks. You sound pretty practiced at saying things like that. Do you usually charm my sister this way? You don't have to put it that way. Bai Loulan stared at me expressionlessly. Looks like you're a repeat offender. That is a massive misunderstanding. Thanks. You've already thanked me. After walking her to the entrance of her neighborhood, I took my own things home. It wasn't long before I received a message from Bai Ningbing. Thanks for bringing Bai Loulan home today. I was just about to reply. It was nothing. When she sent another message first, your next words will be it was nothing. The corner of my mouth twitched. I silently deleted what I typed and replied with just 2 words. You're welcome. I could easily imagine how hard she was laughing on the other end of the phone. After confirming that she would need about another week to recover, I told her to rest and recover properly. Only then did we end the conversation. Meanwhile, Bai Ningbing sat on the sofa replying to my messages. The corners of her lips lifted, and her eyes narrowed with laughter. Sis, dinner's ready. Bai Loulan walked over and gently patted her shoulder. Bai Ningbing jumped. When did you get here? I've been calling you for ages. You never answered. As Bai Loulan untied her apron, she asked, what are you talking about? You look so happy. Bai Ningbing reached out to her. This time, she didn't ask who I had been talking to. Bai Loulan expertly helped her sister to her feet. There was a hint of jealousy in her voice. After all, you only smile like that when you're talking to that person. Is it really that obvious? Very. Bai Loulan helped her to the dining table. Sis, you really need to be more careful. You act completely defenseless around everyone. Bai Ningbing propped her cheek on her left hand. I think you're the one who's far too suspicious. Ever since we were little, whenever a boy came near me, you assumed he had bad intentions. But this time is different. Do you think Fang Yuan is that kind of person? Bai Loulan went into the kitchen to serve the rice. How is it different? She heard her sister answer with a laugh. This time, I was the one who approached him first. A loud clatter suddenly came from the kitchen. Bai Ningbing jumped. What happened? Nothing. I just lost my grip. Bai Loulan came out carrying the bowls and chopsticks. Her voice sounded more flustered than usual. Are you really okay? Really? She placed a piece of rib in Bai Ningbing's bowl. Eat up? It won't taste as good once it gets cold. Bai Ningbing took a bite. Her eyes immediately lit up. Delicious. Bai Loulan's mood lifted as well. Really? When has your sister ever lied to you? Bai Ningbing also placed a piece of rib in her bowl. Eat. Thanks for all your hard work. Bai Loulan took a bite. The happiness in her eyes faded a little. As expected, it still wasn't as good as her sister's cooking. Bai Ningbing didn't hear her murmur clearly. What did you say? Nothing. Okay. Bai Ningbing brought the conversation back. You still haven't answered me. Do you think Fang Yuan is a bad person? Bai Loulan was silent for a moment. For some reason, the conversation at the mall surfaced in her mind again. I think he's a good person. After that, life settled back into its usual calm. I attended classes during the day, chatted with Bai Ningbing between classes, and walked the sisters home in the evenings. I tried to understand Bai Loulan's occasional cold remarks. On weekends, I simply lounged at home. Life was wonderfully comfortable. I kept flipping through television channels when I suddenly heard Fang Qinglin's voice in the hallway. Then, the door opened. Little bro, I brought guests home. You brought friends home. Why are you telling me? I turned around instinctively, but the words died in my throat. Two completely unexpected faces appeared at my front door at the same time. Bai Ningbing waved at me with a smile. Hi there. Bai Loulan stood behind her. Her look at me was still anything but friendly. Wait, I haven't even done anything, have I? I suddenly wondered if I was living inside a novel. How else could something this coincidental happen in real life? Well, look at you. You know a girl this beautiful? Are you really my sister? Or some creepy middle-aged guy from who knows where? Hey, The little brat's blushing. Fang Qinglin laughed and let go of me, then turned to the sisters. Come in and make yourselves comfortable. You don't need to change your shoes. Since you're here, you might as well stay for lunch. No, that's okay. It's fine. My parents will be home for lunch too. It's the perfect chance for everyone to meet. Ningbing stood frozen in place, completely flustered. Isn't this happening too fast? Will this give your parents a bad impression of me? But I really want to meet them. After muttering to herself for a moment, she suddenly came to her senses. Sis, let me help you. With that, she hurried into the kitchen to help. I stood there dumbfounded, seriously wondering whether I'd woken up in the wrong world that morning. Only by Loulan and I remained in the living room. Her stare made my skin crawl. Could you stop looking at me like that? I'm the one who most wants to know what's going on. Only then did Bai Loulan explain. While they were shopping for clothes, they ran into Fang Qinglin after her bag tore. They helped her and ended up talking about me. And somehow, it turned into this. Then why did you come along? To stop you from trying anything with my sister. You trust me that little? When teenage boys and girls spend time together, things can easily go wrong, especially when my sister is so beautiful. You're a teenager too. I'm not as beautiful as my sister, so don't worry. Only then did I notice that I seemed to be the only one still wearing pajamas. While wondering whether I should go change, I answered without thinking, not at all. You're pretty too. The moment I finished speaking, we both fell silent. Wait, did I just say something that sounded kind of flirty? She stared blankly at me for a long moment. I'm telling my sister you harassed me. Please don't do that. When my parents came home, they were delighted to find an extra guest in the house. Hello, Mr. and Mrs. Fang. I sit next to Fang Yuan in class. This is my younger sister, Bai Loulan. Bai Loulan greeted them as well. Only then did we all sit down at the dining table. During the meal, Bai Ningbing sat to my left and enthusiastically served food to my parents while chatting with them. My mom loved girls who were beautiful and outgoing. Before long, she had Bai Ningbing chatting away. You wouldn't believe it. Fang Yuan was such a mischievous boy when he was little. Bai Ningbing listened with unusual attention and naturally began asking about me at school. That boy never tells us anything. Ningbing, you tell us. I sat beside them without saying a word, keeping my head down and eating. Being publicly put on trial like this was absolutely brutal. Just then, a sharp pain shot across the top of my foot. I looked down and saw Bai Lulan's foot planted firmly on my shoe. When I looked up, she was still calmly serving herself food, moving with such elegance that nothing seemed to have happened. Why are you stepping on me? I think you're about to steal my sister away. She sounded somewhat displeased. Then at least be a little gentler. Oh, the pressure on my foot did ease a little, but before I could catch my breath, Fang Qinglin began sharing another story from my childhood. Ningbing, you wouldn't believe it. When this boy was learning to crawl, he always crawled backward. I laughed myself silly. Bai Ningbing kept glancing my way and eventually burst out laughing. Even Bai Loulan turned her head away, her shoulders trembling twice. By the way, laugh all you want, but could you move your foot completely off mine first? By the end of the meal, I was sweating buckets. I kept my head down the entire time, feeling as if this table had been prepared specifically as my execution ground. When the meal finally ended, I immediately volunteered to walk the sisters home. As we walked down the street, Bai Ningbing clasped her hands behind her back. She was in such a good mood that even her steps seemed lighter. I never knew you were so funny as a child. Give me a break. I'm already considering moving to another planet. To end the subject, I quickly brought up the final exams. Then I nearly forgot that Bai Ningbing had consistently ranked third in the entire grade. The person who really needed to worry about her grades was someone else. If Chinese hadn't brought her average down a little, she probably could have ranked even higher. I, on the other hand, was merely a little above average. Suddenly, everyone around me seemed dazzlingly brilliant. How are your grades? Bai Loulan lowered her head. For once, her expression showed embarrassment. I'm not as good at studying as my sister. She's about the same as you. Both of you are average. Wait, why did that sound like an insult aimed at both of us? Bai Ningbing suddenly remembered something. She took my hand. Fang Yuan, are you good at Chinese? I've ranked first in the subject a few times. Then teach us Chinese. In return, I'll tutor you in the other subjects. How does that sound? Her eyes shone as she leaned closer. Her hand was a little cool, but it felt nice in mine. By the time I realized what I was doing, I had already nodded in agreement. Yay! Bai Ningbing immediately cheered softly with delight. Is this what they call a honey trap? How terrifying. Just as I began to smile, the top of my foot was struck again. But this time, Bai Loulan merely looked at me and gave a slight nod. Thank you for your help. I froze. She hadn't warned me to stay away from Bai Ningbing. Could it be that her attitude toward me had really become a little friendlier? What's wrong? Nothing. I almost awakened a strange side of myself. Both sisters stared at me with question marks on their faces. Meanwhile, without my knowledge, after Bai Loulan returned home, she finally asked the question she'd been holding in all the way home. Sis, Have you been smiling to yourself a lot lately? By Ningbing instinctively touched the corners of her mouth. Have I? Does that person coming to our house really make you this happy? By Ningbing's face suddenly turned red. Who says that's why I'm happy? Maybe just a tiny bit. By Loulan didn't press her further. But ever since By Ningbing and I became deskmates, her sister had changed a great deal. She used to think only about studying at home. Now, she constantly mentioned my name. She rarely used messaging apps before. Now, she often clutched her phone and grinned at it. She used to go to and from school alone. Now, I was always by her side. In Bai Lulan's eyes, I wasn't like the others who had approached By Ningbing with ulterior motives, but precisely because of that, she understood even less why her sister had become like this. Is it only because he saved you? That was true at first, but gradually, I became curious about him. He hardly ever showed any emotion. I found myself wondering, what was really on his mind? What would make him smile? What would he look like when he was angry? He would hand me a tissue before I could even say anything. He would wipe the blackboard when no one else bothered. He would comfort children who had gotten separated from their parents and help people carry heavy things. I wanted to see more sides of him and get to know him better. As By Ningbing said this, there wasn't the slightest hesitation in her voice. She hadn't even realized that she remembered nothing but those little unnoticed things. Is that really all it took? Yes, that's all it took. It was the first time Bai Loulan had seen her sister smile like that. She suddenly felt a little jealous of me for somehow making her sister become this way. Strangely, though, she didn't really dislike me. If anything, she seemed a little envious. A few days later, I followed the address Bai Ningbing had given me to the old apartment complex where the sisters lived. As soon as I reached the entrance, I received a message from her. Sorry, the shop is packed with customers today. I can't get back for now. Bai Loulan is home. You two can start studying without me. In other words, I was going to be alone with Bai Loulan again. The awkwardness from being alone with her at the mall came rushing back. I let out a soft breath. I raised my hand to knock, but the door opened first. Bai Loulan was wearing a hoodie and jeans. Seeing my hand suspended in midair, the corner of her mouth seemed to lift slightly. Come in. You don't need to take off your shoes. She turned and headed into the living room first. My sister won't be back for another 2 or 3 hours. We've got plenty of time. She placed a freshly brewed cup of tea in front of me. Here, Fang Yuan. Thanks. I picked up the tea and took a sip. She brushed her hair back from her cheek and sat barely a fist distance away. For some reason, whenever I sat alone with her, I always remembered the time she'd stopped me at the intersection. You seem nervous. Is it because my sister isn't here? That might be one reason. If Bai Ningbing were here to keep things lively, we'd definitely feel more at ease around each other. So, you really are making a move on my sister. I was holding my teacup when my entire body instantly froze, but she acted as if she hadn't noticed. Let's begin. I set down my teacup. Let's start with Chinese then. Let me see your test paper. Only then did I remember that I was actually here to tutor her. After studying for a while, I pointed to the underlined sentence in the reading passage. The sentence hints at the protagonist's feelings. Why hide them? Wouldn't it be better to just say them outright? Maybe some feelings simply aren't meant to be expressed directly. Or maybe the person who wrote the question was out of their mind. That's just my personal opinion. Honestly, I don't really understand the test writer either, but that was probably what the answer meant. I don't understand. For the past few minutes, she had been staring at the question with a frown. I thought for a moment and was about to explain it another way, but before I could finish, a deafening peal of thunder exploded outside the window. Bai Lulan's body visibly jerked. I went to the window and pulled open the curtains. Only then did I realize it had already grown dark outside. Gust of wind drove raindrops against the glass. The forecast had said it would rain, but I hadn't expected a full-blown downpour. I was congratulating myself for bringing an umbrella when I turned and saw that her face had gone pale. She was clutching her arms tightly. Are you all right? I'm fine. She forced herself to stand. I'm going to the bathroom. I watched her walk away and inexplicably felt that she looked much more fragile than usual. But at a time like this, I couldn't exactly follow her and ask what was wrong. The next second, another thunderclap exploded. The entire room plunged into darkness. It wasn't just this room. The entire apartment complex outside had lost power. I heard Bai Loulan let out a rare cry of alarm. I immediately turned on my phone's flashlight and hurried over. She was crouching on the floor, her slender body trembling uncontrollably. I suddenly remembered Bai Ningbing saying that whenever Bai Loulan heard thunder as a child, she would crawl into her sister's arms. I didn't call her out. I simply crouched beside her. Does the complex have a generator? No. There are candles in the shoe cabinet drawer. At least we have another way to get some light. Unfortunately, my phone was almost dead too. Before leaving, I was focused only on studying. I hadn't charged my phone at all. That had clearly been a serious miscalculation. I helped her to her feet first. I'll help you to the sofa. Can you move? But thunder exploded again. She had barely risen halfway before she weakly crouched back down. I had no choice but to turn and look for the candles first. Wait here for me. I'll be right back. Just then, a hand gently tugged at the hem of my shirt. There was none of her usual toughness, only a helplessness I'd never seen before. Don't go. She buried her face between her knees. Her voice was almost drowned out by the rain. Please. The light from my phone grew dimmer and dimmer. The rain outside had begun pouring in earnest, hammering the glass in a relentless barrage. Lightning briefly illuminated the room and revealed her trembling body. Don't go. I was silent for a moment before finally crouching beside her again. Don't worry. I'm not going anywhere. Hearing my answer, Loulan finally let her tense shoulders relax. But the floor was too cold. I couldn't leave her crouching there forever. Can you sit down first? She didn't ask what I intended to do. She simply obeyed and sat down. Perhaps the thunder had drained her ability to think. Even her usual deep wariness had vanished. I crouched beside her. Excuse me. The next second, I wrapped one arm around her shoulders and slipped my other arm beneath her knees. Then I lifted her from the floor. Loulan was clearly stunned. She seemed about to say something, but before a sound escaped her, the next peal of thunder cut her off. I could feel that she still hadn't recovered. Then thunder sounded again. She instinctively buried her face against my chest. Using the faint light from outside, I carried her all the way to the sofa. After carefully setting her down, I sat beside her. Throughout the entire process, I didn't dare move quickly. Only the occasional flash of lightning revealed the room's outlines. One careless step could have sent us crashing into something. The rain and thunder never stopped. Each time the thunder rolled, her body gave a slight tremor. After thinking for a moment, I moved a little closer to her. Once I moved closer, her grip on my sleeve gradually loosened. Her body stopped shaking so violently. I don't know how much time passed before Loulan rested her head on my shoulder. Her fingers still clutched my sleeve tightly. In the darkness, neither of us said a word. We could only hear each other's breathing. Aren't you going to ask? Do you want to tell me? How sly. Leaning against my shoulder, her voice had mostly recovered. I knew I couldn't let my sister get too close to you. I'll take that as a compliment. Shameless. She was just as blunt as ever, but she never let go of my sleeve. After more than 10 seconds of silence, Loulan spoke up on her own. Once, when we were children, only she and Ningbing were at home. There was a violent storm that night too. Unfortunately, they had run out of candles. Neither of them had a phone, so Ningbing had to go out and buy some alone. Not wanting to worry her sister, Loulan said she was fine, but as soon as the door closed, she hid under the covers and trembled. All she could do was pray for her sister to come back soon. She didn't know how long she had waited before Ningbing finally appeared, holding a lit candle. She immediately pulled Loulan into her arms. She always remembered that tiny flame, and how, when her sister appeared, she held her tightly in her arms. I listened quietly until she finished. Only then did I understand. So that's why you love your sister so much. MMHMM. Her voice turned bitter, but I still get scared even now. I still want to rely on my sister. That's pathetic, isn't it? It's not pathetic if you're making progress. I looked down at her. At least you aren't shaking anymore. But your sister isn't here right now. You'll have to make do with me for now. I still prefer my sister. That much is obvious. You can't replace her. What a shame. I deliberately kept my tone light. The weight of her head against my shoulder gradually eased. She fell silent again for a while. Thank you. You're welcome. When the lights finally came back on, Loulan immediately went to the kitchen. A short while later, she returned to the living room with a kettle. Bro, have some hot water. Don't catch a cold. Her voice suddenly stopped. I was leaning against the sofa, having fallen asleep at some point. Loulan sat down beside me. After a moment's hesitation, she carefully shifted my body until my head was resting on her thighs. She moved with extraordinary care each time, as though terrified of waking me. She was so nervous. You'd think she was doing something wrong. She reached out and gently poked my cheek. I shifted unconsciously. She instantly snatched her hand back as if shocked. You were so dependable just now, but now you're completely defenseless. This won't do. She quietly watched me for a while. Only then did she notice several missed calls on her phone, just as she was about to call back. Another call came through first. Xiaoru. Are you alright? I'm fine, sis. Fang Yuan took care of me. Only then did Ningbing breathe a sigh of relief. No one was answering the phone just now. I was worried sick. Thank goodness Fang Yuan was there today. Loulan looked down at me, my head resting on her lap. Yeah. Thank goodness. As she said it, her eyes never left my face. Then I'll come back as soon as the rain lets up. Don't rush. Be careful. Loulan reached out. Her fingertips slowly slipped through my hair. Her voice sounded no different from usual. You can take your time coming back. She didn't rush her sister. She only reminded her to be careful on the way. When I woke up, Ningbing was already home. The sisters were cooking together in the kitchen. They insisted that I stay for dinner. Even more absurdly, Ningbing had somehow added my mother as a contact and had already gotten her permission from me. She placed the chat history in front of me with an utterly self-righteous look. Annie said she doesn't mind. Loulan was standing beside her sister too. She said she wanted to thank me for taking care of her. In the end, I couldn't refuse their warm invitation, so I stayed for a lavish dinner. The only strange thing was, why did both sisters keep putting food in my bowl? The moment my bowl had even a little space, another serving landed in it. By the end of the meal, they had kept my bowl full the entire time. After that, Loulan began appearing in front of me much more often. A familiar head would suddenly pop into my line of sight. Alright, life didn't seem quite so normal anymore. Still, most of the time, I only saw her when I was with Ningbing, so I assumed the girl had simply grown even more attached to her sister. After all, most of the time, she only showed up after Ningbing did. That seemed like a perfectly reasonable conclusion. I never gave it much thought, until one afternoon, I was alone in the crowded cafeteria, looking for a seat. I was a little late today. All the good seats had already been taken. I wove through the crowd with my tray, searching for a seat, and wondering why the school couldn't build another cafeteria. The room was filled with voices, yet one voice calling, "Bro," rang out especially clearly. Bro. I looked toward the sound, and saw Loulan sitting not far away. The food in front of her was almost untouched. She was looking at me with a slightly dazed expression. What touched me even more was that the seat across from Loulan was actually empty. I immediately carried my tray over and sat down. Are you an angel? Probably not. Are you eating alone? Those ungrateful brats. One took the day off and went out to get takeout. I'm the only one still holding the fort in the cafeteria. That's not what I meant. Isn't your sister eating with you? No matter how close we are, we can't spend every minute stuck together. Besides me, your sister, of course, has her own social life. After saying that, I noticed that no one was sitting with her either. Then why are you alone? Loulan lowered her head and ate. She didn't answer. Hey, no way. Are your friends busy today too? You don't have to put it so delicately. It's just as you thought. I don't really have any friends, as long as I have my sister and she suddenly stopped, then quickly changed her words. Having my sister is enough. The name she swallowed back bothered me for some inexplicable reason. I'd almost forgotten. Loulan still suffered from severe social anxiety, but who was the person she hadn't finished mentioning? I didn't press her. I simply lowered my head and took a bite of rice. You should still make a few more friends. Otherwise, you won't even have anyone to talk to. In everyday life, I think things are fine as they are. At least you still have me. Don't make it sound like my existence doesn't matter. I can get hurt too. I hadn't noticed. Loulan set down her chopsticks and asked as casually as she could. Then, from now on, can you eat with me too? It doesn't matter who I eat with. I agreed without a second thought. Sure. She studied me for a long while. Bro, are you always like this? Nothing. After that, her eyes kept drifting toward me. More precisely, toward my neck and wrist. I had no idea why she was staring at me. Then she suddenly asked, Bro, you'd say you're on the slim side, right? I guess so. I see. She seemed to have finally confirmed something. The worry between her brows faded away. Once she had her answer, she happily picked up her tray and left. I was left sitting there completely baffled. I could only chalk up this strange behavior to adolescence. After that, in the cafeteria, beside me, Loulan would keep popping up from time to time. As finals approached, the three of us held another study session. We all passed our exams and welcomed the long holiday. Once the holiday began, Ningbing invited me out several times, just the two of us. Strangely, Loulan didn't warn me even once. Before, whenever I got even a little close to Ningbing, she would practically appear at once. But now, her silence was almost unnatural. It was as if she were secretly planning something. Yet she never gave anything away. Until one day, I suddenly received a message from her. When had this girl even added me as a friend? She invited me over to her house. When I reached the door, I knocked and found it was only slightly ajar. A gentle push opened it. Is anyone home? There was no answer. It was unnaturally quiet. The only sound came from the kitchen, where water was boiling. Wait, the sound of boiling water? A powerful sense of déjà vu washed over me. My heart lurched. Oh, hell, something was wrong. Why was this déjà vu so intense? I spun around and found Loulan standing behind me. The bottle in her hand was aimed at me. She sprayed me squarely. The next moment, I lost consciousness. I don't know how much time passed. I slowly opened my eyes and found myself tightly bound to a chair. The room was clean and tidy. A few stuffed toys sat on the bed. Light-colored curtains blocked the view outside. It looked like a girl's bedroom. The only thing I knew for sure was that I was still in the sister's house. Bro, you're awake. Loulan stood in the doorway. Her eyes burned with an intensity I'd never seen before. What are you doing? To be honest, I don't know either. She walked up to me and bent down to meet my eyes. Her posture was exactly the same as when she'd stopped me at the intersection. I felt completely unlike myself. This is all your fault. Bro, my fault. Ever since that rainy day, you barged in uninvited, forcing your way into my mind and settling in there, just like my sister. That puts me in a difficult position. She spoke from very close to me. The usual coldness was gone from her eyes. I tried to struggle, but the ropes were tied exceptionally tight. I understand the situation, but Could you untie me first? No. If I untie you, you'll run away, won't you? Bro, I really couldn't deny that. I know perfectly well that you're the person my sister is after, but I can't control this urge. I've been holding it back for so long. Today, I finally couldn't hold back anymore. Her voice grew more and more frantic. I'm jealous that you stole my sister away, and I'm jealous that my sister has you all to herself. I'm jealous of both of you. I really am. I'm so jealous. Loulan was like someone who had been starving for a long time and had finally found food. She leaned close to my ear, completely out of control. Bro, did you know that when I was little, I loved stealing my sister's things? Your sister mentioned it. Did she? She leaned against me and breathed me in greedily. It seems this habit still hasn't changed. No, this shouldn't be happening. Loulan had completely lost control. Had she buried her feelings for too long, pushing them to the breaking point, only for them to explode this violently? Don't be quiet, bro. Just let me stay like this for a while. I'll untie you when I'm finished. As she spoke, she slowly moved from my ear toward my neck and left behind a faint bite mark. The pain brought me fully back to my senses, but I still couldn't break free of the ropes. Loulan was like a blazing flame, slowly scorching me until I felt surrounded by heat. I used to be relieved that she didn't have a Yandere streak. Now I see how completely wrong I was. Could someone please stop her? Clatter. Suddenly, something hit the floor by the door. Loulan, and I turned at the same time. Ningbing was standing there, though I hadn't heard her arrive. Her gaze was terrifyingly cold. While I was away, you were having quite a good time.